Welcome, everybody, to this week's edition of Inside the GM Studio, podcast all about that tabletop RPG hobby. I'm your host, Matt.
And I'm, what am I? Who am I? I don't know. I don't know anymore.
The
I'm David, I
David.
guess. I'm David. I'm the David. The
The
capital T,
David.
capital D, the David.
I'm excited. uh, so yesterday, so for those that don't know, I live in Michigan. It has been,
Boo!
it has not gotten over 20 degrees in the last few days, and my apartment is suffering for it. So I've been wearing a lot of hoodies inside recently, and I pulled out my Sons of Gygax hoodie the other day. I've had it in storage for a few years because I couldn't fit into it anymore. Put it on yesterday, fits like a glove again. I'm fucking
Aw,
excited.
yeah. Being poor is a great diet.
Yes, it is. Oh, dude, I'm really excited because I just bought a rice maker the other day and then a big bag of rice. Oh, fuck yeah. I'm gonna be
The
good for
rice.
a while.
Plus, I got some salt. This is gonna be awesome.
Oh yeah, man. Ramen noodles, eggs, salt, that's all you need.
Oh, did you take any of my ramen tips from
I
before?
did.
Totally off topic, but yeah.
Oh yes. Oh man. If we could have a whole episode where we could bring in tabletop gaming and how to cook really good ramen, dude, we'd be one of the best shows out there.
I'm fucking pro at that shit, bro.
Also, what has happened on Thursday, my usual Thursday game, it's finally happened. We called it quits. We have
Oh,
officially disbanded
what?
of a
Really?
regular, yeah, almost 10 years running, and we've officially disbanded. One of the members is in the hospital right now. Another member got a new job and he's really uh, going crazy. He's doing very well, but he's always traveling for work. And then the guy that was running the game, the Triangle Agency game right now, and the guy that started the group as our storyteller for Call of Cthulhu, his mom just got cancer. So he's like, I can't commit. And lucky, all of us were just like, you know what? This is probably just a good time. Let's not be a regular group anymore. We might do a one shot every couple months or something like that. But as of right now, we have officially disbanded as a
No,
regular group.
no. This is all just a bunch of bullshit excuses. Well, my mom got cancer. I'm in the hospital.
Yeah.
What is this shit? Like,
What, you can't bring dice to the hospital?
you can't bring down a lot of dice in the hospital? Like, no, man. Sorry to hear that about your fellow gamers and the game too. That's always not easy to have to disband a game, especially if it's a long running one. I've had that happen a couple times, and it feels a little like a breakup, like you're like, I mean,
I
I
was
still
gonna
care,
say
I
that.
still care about you, but this isn't working for me anymore.
Oh, dude. One of the guys, Calvin, the guy that's in the hospital right now, I gotta see if it's still in here. Yeah. He put, it's preposterous that this group has survived as long as it has. If you think about it, I think it's always going to be here for us when the time's right. Hate that it can't always be for all of us all the time. Like, oh, that's fucking sweet, dude. That's really nice. Yeah,
Yeah,
everyone was popping in, just being like, yeah, dude, it's been great. I don't think we're ever gonna officially stop. Like, we'll still hit up in the Discord every now and then. But yeah, it was just that it came out of the blue. It was like everybody, like after everyone was talking about all their shit going on right now, and just like, I'm not going to be able to make it. Can we try to do something else? And then finally, everybody was just kind of like, maybe we should just kind of call it quits right now. And like you said, at first it did. It felt like a breakup. And I was
yeah,
like, oh, damn, that's so weird because we've been doing this for, like I said, we've been together doing this for almost 10 years, just playing different games.
yeah. But if there's some there, like you said. Well, I mean, our friendship is probably a good example. Matt and I grew up in the same hometown. We went to high school together, and we were cronies for fucking all through high school. And then Matt moved to Ann Arbor, and then it was like, okay, so then that kind of redefined what it was how we were friends, and then I moved to Iowa, and then I moved back to Ann Arbor, and we were hanging out all the time, and it was like the old days. And then I moved to California, and now it's like, okay, now we like podcast and shit. Um, so yeah, it just kind of like, I don't think it ever goes away, but it's like
Nah.
it's like that old adage, or people say, I wish somebody would tell me that I was in the good old days while they were happening, and like later you realize like, oh, those were the good old days, and now, I'm all nostalgic for a time that when it was happening, it just kind of felt routine and normal, but I think that's part of the comfort of it. It's
Hmm.
you get used to seeing a group of guys or gals or whomever like every week for the same under the same auspices, and then when it's not there, it makes you a little melancholy. But you just kind of move the margins a little bit and try to maintain what was there, and if it's worth maintaining, then it keeps. But so
But ever since we called it quits, I thought, you know what, for the show today, for me and David, hold up, excuse me,
oh, it's AIDS.
with my group disbanding on such good terms, I thought I would pull up some RPG horror stories to find those people that have lost their groups that was not as amicable or as good natured. And man, I'll tell you what. So I was looking it up on Reddit, right? And they have all their little tags of what the story is going to be in the story. I swear
Yeah.
to God, 7 out of 10 times it's always sexual. It's always just like SA, SA, SA. I'm just like, God damn, dude. Like our hobby already has a bad reputation for dudes like this. And it's like every single fucking horror story is SA. Ugh.
It's I I mean, I can start off by telling you how my group in Iowa disbanded, and it
Ooh.
is.
Ooh, a
Do you
personal
want?
story? Okay.
Yeah. Do you want me to
Yeah.
start here? Or
Fuck
are
it.
we
Let's do
ready?
it.
Okay. Okay. So when I moved to Iowa, I had ended because I moved to Iowa. I had ended a long running campaign that consisted of some familiar faces, one of which no one really knows about because I don't really talk about my ex-wife that much on this show. But my ex-wife used to play D&D. Like I got her into it, and she was really into it. So my old group consisted of my ex-wife Jen, my old friend Dason, the hometown barbarian Cody, and Poofs Sean, who used to play in our old Curse of Strahd game. So those were my four players, and I think that was it. We had some rotating people that kind of came in and out, but those were the four main core people. And so we played fourth edition, one campaign that got to about a level 7 or 8, and then stalled out. TPK, I think. And then we played another campaign that went from levels 1 to 17, 18. And so that campaign went on for several years. But when I finished college and was ready to take the next step in my career, I moved to Iowa because I got a job at a newspaper there. And neither me nor my ex-wife knew anybody in Iowa at all. And I was just kind of content to let the D&D thing kind of, okay, well, that's that, right? And but she was like, "Hey, why don't we try to find some people here in Iowa that might be interested in playing D&D?" I'm like, "There are 8 people in Iowa, and all of them are over the age of 50, so I don't think they're really into D&D." But as it turns out, uh, it's really boring in Iowa, so it actually wasn't that difficult to find people that wanted to do anything other than watch corn grow. So they were like, yes. So I recruited this guy, a couple of guys initially. Cody, another Cody, strangely, and this other guy, Patrick, a different Patrick.
Another
Not,
Patrick.
yeah, another Cody. And so Patrick would play D&D when he was stationed in Afghanistan. Actually, he was a army guy, and he was like, "Oh yeah, I took up D&D. We used to play all the time when I was stationed in Afghanistan." And then this other guy, Cody, was like young. He was like 19 or 20 or whatever, but he was just starting to get into it. So that's fine. So we had them, and then Jen, and then Cody. He knew some people, and he was like, "Hey, I know this guy Tom, and Tom might want to play D&D with us." And Tom did want to play D&D with us, and he was kind of dumb, but that's not a reason to exclude somebody from D&D because otherwise you'd have no players.
Hmm.
And then this other guy, CJ, he came into the mix too, and CJ was like, so that now we had a group, right? We had a group of dudes. Um, and as you might guess, the problem always has something to do with, like you said, a lady and some sort of sexual tension or whatever.
Hmm.
So CJ came into the mix, and CJ knew this other dude, Jared. And so Jared came, and Jared was going to play. So now it was like me and Jen and Jared and CJ and Cody and Tom and Patrick. It was like all these people, right?
Damn.
Yeah, yeah. And then Patrick ended up not continuing on with us. I don't remember why. He just kind of flaked off. But then Jared came in, and Jared was married. He was like 20 or something like that, and he was married, and he had this old lady, Misty, and Misty is just as trashy as she fucking sounds. And I'm caught in the mix of this. I'm like 31, and I'm hanging out with all these people. Are all like 19, 20. I'm like, okay, whatever. But like, hey, D&D, that's cool, I guess, right?
Uh-huh. Beggars
And
can't be choosers, really.
yeah, oh yeah, beggars can't be choosers. So then Misty comes into the mix, and Misty is really one of those women that she just wants to be around her fella, and she doesn't really care about D&D. And it becomes very evident that she doesn't care about D&D because she can't be bothered to pay attention or learn anything, and she's always confused about like what she can do and how she can the mechanics of the game and all this shit, right? So then moving forward, like it becomes this soap opera where we have to like get all of these people, right? So my ex-wife would go and they lived in this podunk fucking town called Boone, Iowa. It was like an hour away. And so she would drive all the way out there to get them and bring them all over to our house, like on a Saturday or whatever. And at the end of the night she would drive them all home, right? And it was just like this big to do. And not to mention, like Jen and I were like, working professionals at the time, and they're all like broke dick, like fucking fresh out of high school or early college age, right? So it's like we're like, oh hey, let's take a break and like get something to eat, and they're like, yeah, we don't have any money for anything. Can you feed us? And
Or
it's
they
like,
pull
okay,
out
yeah.
like a little bag of bugles from their pocket or something.
It's like so yeah, like it's like not only is there gas and time in, but it's like now we're feeding these people, right? Like just I'm not happy about it, but I'm trying to be a team player here or whatever. So but then we would take breaks because it was, you're gonna go drive an hour to get somebody. It's an all day affair, right?
Hmm.
We're like, we go get them at like 2 in the afternoon, and we play until like fucking damn near midnight, right? Like 10, 11 hours, and take a couple breaks in there, a dinner break and a couple of light breaks. But then the respite between the breaks, I'm noticing, is getting longer and longer. I'd be like, let's take like 10 or 15 minutes so we all can take a piss, grab a slice of pizza, whatever. And then it's bleeding into like 30, 45 minutes. And come to find out, what was happening is Jared and Misty were having these long, involved discussions about their relationship. Anyway, to make a long story even longer, what ended up happening was Misty and Jared decided, literally while we were playing D&D one evening, that they were going to get divorced.
No.
They're like, we're getting divorced, right? And it's like, and that's just like really fucking weird, right?
That is
And
really weird.
and then to top things off, on top of that, it seemed like Misty is the kind of gal that like it's like, I'm getting a divorce and now I immediately want to fuck this CJ guy that's
No.
also in the group, right? And so there's like this situation where it's like, okay, like they're getting a divorce. So Jared has to go away now because this woman is like, doesn't want him around. So then he leaves, but then it's like she was living with him at the time. So now we're kind of caught in the crosshairs where it's like, okay, that's not cool. Um, I can't just drive this Misty chick back to the place that she lives with this guy that she's like gonna get a divorce from. So, you feel obliged to be like, well, hey, if you want, you can just kind of stay here for tonight,
Hmm.
right? So then, we let him stay there, and then it becomes very obvious while we're going to bed that Misty and CJ are having sex in our fucking our
No,
guest room.
no.
Yeah, animals, right? This is
Ugh.
why just don't associate with anybody under the age of 30. They're just fucking animals. Um, so yeah, and I had to have a talk with this CJ guy. I'm like, look, dude, one, like, you do you. It's your business, right? It's like she's a consenting adult, and like, I'm like, but if you have sex in my house again without my permission, we will have problems. He was like, "Oh yeah, I mean that's cool, right? I'm cool." I'm like, "Look, I get it. You're like kind of a fat, dorky dude, and like
Got
you're
a
not
little bit of
exactly
play. It's hard to say no.
yeah. He's not swimming in pussy, I guess is what
Hmm.
I'm saying. So you just take it where it comes, right? Pun intended.
Yeah.
And so yeah, so then that ended up being a thing, and then she ended up lingering because my ex-wife is a kind-hearted woman. She's like, I feel bad for her. I'm like, you do? And she's like, yeah, I feel bad for her. I want to try to like help her out or whatever. So she lets us stay with us for a few days, and we got this like malingerer like hanging out with us. And after a while, Jen was like, here's the thing: is like, she doesn't have any money. She doesn't have a job. She's like dependent on this dude, and so she's been hanging out and, she took her shopping and bought her some new clothes, trying to make her feel good about herself or whatever. And like all this, and she's like, and I'm feeding her. But after a few days, she's like, yeah, I think she's just mooching off of us. I'm like, she's absolutely mooching off of us. I just didn't want to like curb your like, charitable spirit or whatever.
Hmm.
And then so she's like, basically, yeah, Misty, I don't know how to say this politely, but you have to get the fuck out of here, you worthless mooch. And that's how that D&D group. Oh no, actually, it continued on for a little while longer because my ex and Tom, the other guy, he's real quiet and kind of like stupid, but they liked fishing, so they would go fishing together. But then the other guy, Cody, like took me aside and felt the need to tell me how inappropriate it was that my wife was like fishing with another man and this, that, and the other. And I was like, you know what, dude? Like, one, mind your own business. You're 19. What the fuck do you know about relationships? And two, we're done. There's no more D&D.
Yeah.
I'm cutting all of you off. That's how that group ended. This all took place over the course of probably less than a year. Um, and so that was like is a fucking nightmare. Like, there's more to it, but I don't want to belabor the point. But if you want a horror story, I'm curious if any of the other ones that you got top that.
It's a good one. That's a damn good one. That's one of the better ones I've seen. But we will see. I tried to find ones that were medium length. It's another thing that they have on there. Another little note that they have is just like medium, long, extra long. I was like, let's stick to at least medium.
Yeah, that's
And that
all
doesn't
the
have to do with
all the women I've dated have agreed with that assessment.
let's keep it medium
Stick to
and no
medium.
sexual assault.
Yeah, and no, yeah, no. I'm sorry, you can't say sexual assault. SA. You can't say
SA.
SA. It's say SA now.
I know. Hold on. So here, I just want to show you some of the titles that I passed by. I'm going to ERP with the minor. Where is this one?
Wait, a minor, like someone underage, or someone that like works in the mine?
MINOR.
Okay, someone underage.
Yeah.
Cool.
23-year-old player tried to convince 15-year-old me to date him.
Okay.
So yeah, these are the things that I just kind of. Oh yeah, player insisted on rape and racism being included in his backstory. Leaves after I tell him no because I'm stifling his creativity. Those are some of the ones that I passed over, and I said I don't want to read these.
Yeah, that's just the title says it all.
Yeah,
It's like,
right.
okay, I don't need the details. I don't need to see how this happens.
But here's a nice one to kind of ease us into it. With the title, I got to sit in the special boy chair for 4 hours.
Okay.
I'm not going to say the names of the people that posted these, mostly because they're throwaway accounts usually, and it doesn't really matter.
Sure.
All right. I got to sit in the special boy chair for 4 hours. You know, the one in every hotel room. For all those out there that don't know, he's talking about the cuck chair.
The cockshare.
I signed on with this new DM, brought my character in, and at the start of the session, he tells me he can either bring me in on the brink of death with no items or bring my character in after a little bit into the session. Naturally, I figure he's looking for a way to naturally introduce my character into the party without disrupting challenge rating, so I oblige. I haven't DM'd extensively before, and this guy looks like a professional. Hand painted models, rule books galore, and television screens fill the basement and tantalize with possibilities. The party spends 1 hour exploring a cave, and then another in a dungeon. The group faffs about with locks, then treasure division, some traps, and clears the second part of the dungeon after another hour before we take a break.
Wait, did he say faffs? Is this guy British?
FAFFS? Yes, faffs.
Faffs. Yeah, okay, that's British. He's British.
Uh, before they take a break. I look at him, somewhat incredulous, and he assures me that once the party has cleared out of the next room, I will be introduced. The party unearths a vampire and embarks on what is a pretty much a Q&A session with long, dramatic pauses and delivery that lasts another 40 minutes. It has been 3 hours and 40 minutes, and he looks at me, quote, I feel bad about this, but we're at the stop mark. We'll make sure to get you in next time.
Ooh,
I am at
I'm
my
out.
limit. I've packed my things and start describing, and he starts describing the party discovering my body. See, there's a percentile chance that resurrection could go poorly. It's the literal first option from before. I have actively stopped listening and make my way out. He calls after me to apologize about the pace that the group can sometimes take time, and he hopes to see me next week. It is a poor shepherd who blames his flock. I don't think I'll see them next week.
Yeah, wow,
Dude,
that's
I've
pretty
read this
bad.
sort of thing when it comes to tabletop role play or horror stories. A lot of them, I will say, about maybe a third, oh, not a third, I would say about maybe 3/8 of them all have to do with introduction. And when they're joining a new group that has been fully implemented, really, and they're not starting a new campaign together, the introduction of the new character takes so goddamn long that it usually chases off the new player.
That's, it's so weird to me because, look, I acknowledge that for, let's say, the sake of logic, sometimes there are more logical places to interject a character, but as a general rule, I don't think that logic, and I think you know me well enough to know that I am somebody that, like, internal logic in a game and a movie and a whatever it is important to me. It
Hmm.
is. Like, but I think you can kind of lampshade over some of that shit to just be like, oh, that guy's in the dungeon, he's exploring shit, and he's there, and you meet him, and now
Yeah.
he's in the party. It's like, because it's just like the value of incorporating the player into the game quickly and efficiently far outweighs any sort of logical problems it creates.
And with and I got to give it up to, so these days, and how we talk about the story is the narrative, how the story is produced is very important. Sure. And there's some people that want that introduction to feel real, or they want it to feel, what do they call that shit when organic? They want it to feel
Okay.
organic.
Yeah.
And with this, I don't know if I made it clear enough. Before they were talking about, okay, well, you can be introduced at near death, which it seems as that's the way that it went. And then the DM was just like, I still have to roll the percentile to see if you actually survive. Like, are they going to resurrect you? And I do a percentile to see if it works. It's like, what the fuck are you talking about? First of all, if at all, if you're going to introduce somebody in the like near death, I guess I would say, I wouldn't even do that. Have them at full hit points, but unconscious, totally fine. Easily able to be woken up and then brought into the mix. But yeah, dude, oh God, I would hate to be that dude. You show up for your first session and you sit there for 4 hours before they're just like, this is it. We're done tonight. Sorry, dude. thanks for showing up. I know you didn't say or do anything.
Yeah, that's really, really inconsiderate of another person's time and stuff like that. Makes it feel like it's some sort of club that you have to earn membership in, pay your dues, go through, get raked over the coals, and it's like,
Mm,
yeah, that's fine if you just don't want new players. Like if you have a glut of new players, you have 10 people that want to join your game and they're chomping at the bit, then maybe I could see that, but it just seems a little like you think you're doing them a favor by letting them into your game, and that's not really a very good foot to get off on with a new player, especially if they're a stranger, which it sounds like this
yes.
guy was.
Hmm.
So,
I want to tell this story of so when I don't even know if it was officially fifth edition yet. I think it might have still been D&D 1
next.
next. Was that what it was called? Oh yeah, because 1 is the 2024
Mhm.
edition. Next was what we were doing.
Next.
It was oh shit, I don't even think it was that yet. Okay, so yeah, I think this was still like during the beta time when we were playing the beta test. When Liam first pissed off and he left. He left the group, but we got Nick instead. So Nick joined, but Liam left. And David has been very good about this. Whenever a player leaves, if he knows that he's not coming back, guess what? Your character's dead. It just happened.
Yeah.
Your character dies.
And typically in gruesome fashion too.
Yeah, usually in very gruesome fashion. But the beauty is, whenever David brings in a new player, it's usually within 20 minutes that they make their first scene. They might not be with the group yet, but guess what? This group here, the group that has been here the whole time, fuck off. You can wait. We got a new dude. We're gonna find out what they want to do. And Dave has always been very cool about that. Like he tries to get them in as soon as possible, tries to help them get in touch with the group. At this time, at this change, Nick just joined our group. This is the first time Nick had played a tabletop role playing game in a very long time.
Yeah.
And he joined us. And the first thing he got to hear was David talk about the death of Liam's character really quick. And then, like 2 minutes later, he's like, and you see this cool ranger dude. Go ahead and describe your character, Nick.
I'm a ranger, do ranger shit.
Yeah,
I had completely forgotten that until you mentioned it. I don't remember why. I had completely forgotten that Liam even played with us. I don't remember why he stopped playing with us.
because him and his so our mutual acquaintance Liam, a good buddy of mine, but him and his wife, they do a thing where they jump between states and buy houses, flip them, and then move to another state. And that was his thing then as well.
Because she played with us too for like 1 or 2 sessions,
Yeah, Carolyn
right?
always played with us as well.
Yeah, not always, like
No,
one
well,
or two
with us
sessions.
when I was running fourth edition, she was one of my regular players.
Yeah, and it's like she joined our group, and it was one of those things where I was like, I am always really reluctant to like allow new people into my group that I do not know. And typically, if one of my players that is reliable vouches for somebody, then I allow it. Um, and this was one of those situations. Matt doesn't have a great track history of this. Sometimes
Mm-mm,
he vouches for
do
people,
not.
and then they end up flaking, and I'm like, "Fuck, Matt, damn it!" Like I blame Matt.
Uh-huh.
But to be fair, you also vouched for Jason, and he was a very consistent player.
Oh yeah.
I miss playing with that guy. He was always the first one to show up. He always brought snacks. He was always entertaining to play with at the table. He was always checking in about whether we were playing, and like he was very
He always paid for his portion as well as others for pizza as well.
yeah, he was a very thoughtful player. And so and Nick was pretty consistent for a while, but then he ended up flaking, and
Mhm.
Liam and Carolyn were just a nightmare. And
Yeah.
and then I think there was, who was that other gal with the tattoos on her legs that didn't
Allison.
let Allison. She played like a couple times, and I didn't think that was on you, because I think there was just some changes in her life that
Hmm.
made it untenable. Um, but yeah, and that's the reason that I just don't like upending my game. I don't like, because again, I do value logical cohesion within the world, but it's a bridge too far to make a player wait that long to
Yeah.
like get introduced into the plot. So
Or pretty much fucking a whole session that they just have to sit there and say nothing.
and then to introduce them into a fashion like why is he being punished for being like the Johnny come lately? Like you
Mm.
let a player into your group. Like, look, I'm not saying that like the players are level 4 and you have to like level this character up in levels he didn't earn, but it's like, you're unconscious and you might just be dead. It's like, but why? Why is that necessary? It seems punitive for no reason.
Yeah, I agree. All right, on to the next. With the title, player refuses to join the party because, quote, my character wouldn't do that, unquote.
And then he sexually assaults some people.
Yeah. Then he put a finger in my ass.
He fucking stuck a thumb in my bum.
So a long time ago, I was running a game of D&D 5e, and one of my players, let's call him Dwarf, wanted to play a dwarf blacksmith and former soldier who hates war and now lives in a quiet small village. He also said he wanted to be introduced last. I had no problems with that. So when we started session zero, or when we hold the fuck on, whiskey. Thank you. I had no problems with it, so we started session zero. Within the first 10 minutes of this session, most of the party had formed because they were being chased by the big bad evil guy. Eventually, they got to Dwarf's village, and I introduced his character by saying an aged dwarf blacksmith walks by carrying coals. He immediately interjected with, actually, blacksmiths use charcoal, not coal. He would do this every time I made a mistake describing blacksmithing. Actually, you don't forge steel like that. Actually, there wouldn't be swords in this village. So after 10 minutes of that, the party asked him to join and he refused, saying, it wouldn't make sense that my character would join a group of random people and fight. You need to convince me or I'm not going. This went
Okay,
on.
see you later, buddy.
This went on for 20 minutes of the players trying to convince him to go, and he kept refusing. Finally, I just said, look, I know it's not super realistic, but it's a fucking game that you said you wanted to join. So are you just gonna sit on the side while everyone else plays? He ended up joining and justified it because of one of the PCs reminded him of his dead son. But then he said, I then take him under my wing and spend the whole winter teaching him how to blacksmith. I stopped him there and reminded him that the big bad evil guy is on the way and you don't have time to teach people shit. But then, quote, but then how is my character going to bond with anyone? You need to learn writing, bro. Ooh, oh boy. The rest of the players said they didn't want to do all that and wanted to get on with the main quest. So he relented and we continued on with the rest of the session and ended by entering the first dungeon. The kicker is that 2 weeks later, he got into Rick and Morty. And by the time of the next session, he retroactively changed his character into a dwarf Rick and kept trying to do that voice while shouting wubba lubba dub dub at every chance he got. Oh my God. I'm with David
Yeah.
already. It's that as soon as you start doing that shit, I'm like that, see you, dude. All right, peace out.
Yep. Yep. Have fun sitting in your blacksmithery or whatever. Like, we're gonna go adventure. It's like not only kick that guy out of your group, but kick him in the nuts on his way out. Like, yeah, who are these people?
I
Like,
don't know, man. Yeah,
yeah.
and I love how he put in there, like the poster. I just said, look, I know that it's not super realistic, but it's a fucking game that you said that you wanted to join.
You're a
So
dwarf
play
and there are
along.
dragons. There are
Yeah.
dragons and shit. Like, it's not gonna. You can cast magic spells. This is not a hyper realistic environment. Like, sure, you don't want to introduce anything that breaks the world or breaks a character's sense of
Mhm.
consistency, where it's like they're behaving as if they have no memory or something, right? Like, oh yeah, I really hate goblins, and then like later, like, oh, that guy's a goblin, he's my friend, and you're like, well, wait, what? I thought you. It's... So there needs to be some internal consistency, but like there also needs to be some, for lack of a better word, lampshading that just kind of occurs so you can get on with the main thing. But
Mhm.
let this be a cautionary tale to anyone that thinks it's a good idea to start with each of your characters individually and then give them all reasons to get together because it bogs everything down.
Oh,
You are an adventuring party already and you're going on this quest already. You already know each other. You want to fill in the gaps with that shit, like retroactively? Be my guest. But you're already a fucking party. I'm not relying on you to do it, right?
yep. I agree with you so much now.
For this very reason.
Yep.
Like,
And that's another reason why I am a big, strong advisor on session zero because that just throws all this shit out of the way. If
yeah.
with your session zero, be like, you guys have known each other for a while now. So how about you share something that you might all know about each other now? That's like the best question to ask at a session zero, if
Yeah.
that's what you want to do. But man, I'm too old for you guys don't know each other and you're all at a tavern and you hear the
Yeah.
same rumor, but do you all follow through with it?
Yeah. There's just too many problems that it can, like, it's that whole, well, actually, maybe you're not familiar with this. You don't read screenplays. You don't
Mm.
watch writing videos and shit. But there's this adage in film that goes something like this: start late, end early. Right?
Yeah.
Start a scene as late as possible that it's relevant to the plot. You don't show somebody walking up to a restaurant, parking their car, locking it, getting their backpack out of it, walking up to the restaurant, getting seated, sitting down, waiting, putting some sugar in their fucking coffee, and waiting for the guy that they're going to talk to get there. No, you just start the scene when the guy arrives and they're already in the middle of a conversation, and then when the dramatic momentum of the scene has petered off, you also don't need to show them going like, okay, well, that's cool, like, yeah, it's good to see you, Matt, like, next time you're in town, give me a call, and anyway, I'm just gonna pay the bill here and get out of here, and then like, yeah, like, I pay the bill, settling up, and then it's like, no, no, like, our conversation is over, and so like the scene is over, like, you
Mm.
just stick to the dramatic meat. And this is a good tactic to employ in tabletop role playing games. I am not even a fan of, like, not only am I a big fan of starting the party already together, I'm a big fan of starting the party not only already together, but already in the midst of a fucking quest.
Yep.
And they're
Yeah.
like, they're just
Yep.
like they're already on the quest. There's no way for you to say no to this. You've already agreed to it. And if you want to rationalize why you're grumbling about it or you're whatever, but you've agreed, right? This is the room you're in. Deal with it. Like, it's just get on with the narrative. And I just, so stuff like this is a huge cautionary tale as to why you don't allow that like sort of shit to happen.
All right. This next one I have, uh, I wanted to put this one in here because I had the tag lighthearted, but it
Mm.
also had the tag VTM. So I wanted to
And,
see how lighthearted a VTM game could be.
and also sexual assault.
Yeah, right. Yeah, but sexual assault is a part of the game, even though none of us want to fucking do it. You know, we always have that player, Rob, that wants to
Yeah,
do some sort of sexual assault. Rob,
yeah.
don't fucking play that shit, dude.
It's like I just want to, like, it's cool, right? I just like a
I'm just
sex slave,
feeding
and
on her,
you're
dude. Yeah, you're. Oh, you know, I'm not even gonna get into it because.
VTM.
Yeah, the title. We wanted a reboot and things went weird. VTM V20 20th anniversary. Uh, I am a player in a VTM game on Wednesdays, 2 times per month. Week yes, week no kind of game. The
That's
player,
not information we need. I don't
I
care
know,
when
I
you
was
meet.
already just going like, all right, well, now
I
you're
don't
just
care what
sharing
day
too much.
we meet at 7:28 p.m. and everybody's expected to bring, it's the Mountain Dew, and it's like, I don't care. What's with the game? Come on.
Yeah, it's a little too much. You don't need to share that much. It's a horror story. We don't need to know the cutesy parts of the game. The players in this game will be referred by clans since none of the clans repeat. So we were a Camarilla party, and the ST storyteller decides to shuffle some stuff up and transformed it into a Sabat game. Cool. Uh, Valdery happens, and the game is on 1492 before the Convention of Thorns happened. Oh, okay.
Okay.
All right. The storyteller wanted for us to be one of the first Sabat packs and wreck shit on Camarilla. Okay, I get you. All right, gotcha. But then we engaged in a fight with a Camarilla group, with one of them being a DMPC that storyteller kind of loved. DMPC. Oh, DMPC. Jesus Christ. They're using that for Vampire. All right. Dungeon Master player character. In Vampire, whenever they use, it's just like those people that just say, yeah, I'm the DM when they're playing GURPS or whatever. Like,
Yeah.
God damn it. Dungeon Master is Dungeons and Dragons. That's it.
Yep.
Yeah. That storyteller kind of loved because it was a character that he played in the past. You see that? We won the fight, rescued a Salubri, and the DMPC fled after heavily hurting us. And then New Year happened. We came back to the table last week after the festivities, and things kind of went weird. Bullet points. The Setite went to reboot. The Tremere is a newbie. The Shamaze, or Zemisi, depending on who you are, wasn't having fun because we were stuck in place. The daughter of Cacophony was just going with the flow, and myself, a Chiasid Lasombra, wanted to run a new Giovanni character. Zemisi had the idea of killing everyone in the game so we could reboot in modern times. Setite was in with the idea. Daughter of Cacophony said she was good with it, but just didn't know what clan to play. Tremere also was in for the thrill, and myself also wanted to run a new character, a Giovanni. Zemisi told the storyteller, myself and Daughter of Cacophony, he was going to create a Vozd, I don't even know what that is, and through the ritual would try to invoke Kupala, and clearly failing in the intention to kill everyone in the group. While this was happening, storyteller gave me somewhat a cue for a statue infused with true faith, but covered with a mantle that released dark flames, with a, in parentheses, question mark, of Saint Cyprian, a saint associated with magic and stuff. Nice, good job. Setite and Tremere were with me, and I decided to take it to the Zemisi's house so we could all study it together. Arriving there, Zemisi was already in the middle of the cupola summoning. The statue started to pull itself into the ritual, and I let it go. Setite and Tremere arrived after, and Daughter of Cacophony was already together with Zemisi through the summoning. It was the perfect get-go to kill everyone. Setite tried to kill Zemisi by pushing it in the ritual, but Zemisi dodged. Zemisi tried to kill Setite. Setite dodged, and then I summoned Darkness with Obtenebration 2. Cool? Question mark. Cool. DM basically had bread and butter to kill everyone and decides not to do it. Zemisi threw herself in Kupala, but my Obtenebration made that the whole ritual of Kupala let two demons, again in parentheses with a question mark, summon themselves through the abyss, being those Stolas who appeared first, gave us disciplines, but gave a flaw of possession, and Paimon, who gave quests to each of our characters. This is fucking crazy. Setite, summon Paimon in the middle of a big event, even though he was already summoned there. Tremere, find a man of power. So these are the quests that the Paimon gave him? Fuck off.
Paimon.
Even though after Stola said that Paimon was someone that didn't tolerate being disrespected, the Setite disrespected Paimon, and Paimon didn't care. Me and the Tremere opened our minds for Stolas to access our mention. Okay, hold on. Too long. Let me get on here to the TL. What the fuck is the horror story here? Storyteller and players decide to reboot the game with everyone dying. Storyteller decides to change the plan and only kills the Zemisi, making the player leave the game and everyone kind of have a sour taste in their mouth. Oh, that's it? That was it? Okay. I get it.
Uh, I don't. You don't know how to play VTM.
Yeah, obviously.
Next case.
What you're the problem is you don't know how to play VTM,
It's you're just
unfortunately.
wow. Yeah, that's just I don't even.
No, all that was
Yeah,
is I know a bunch of words of lore and I'm gonna say it here, and it makes the game sound cooler than it actually was. But all it was is that the storyteller pissed off a PC, and now they left. Got it. All right.
yeah. That sounds like a. It sounds like a nightmare, but not for the reason that the poster is. I would
Mm-mm.
never. I would whoever this person is that posted this, stay a million miles away from any game I'm ever running because you're just the worst.
That's a little ridiculous.
Yep.
All right, the last one I have here has
Make it good. Make it good.
we're gonna hope so. I like this title, so I want to know what it means. Why I no longer do the prisoner start in games anymore.
Ooh, okay.
My early attempts at DMing occurred between late middle school and early high school. Sounds familiar?
Yeah.
Yeah. And they didn't go very well. Also sounds very familiar. Yeah. Partly due to inexperience and partly due to possibly trying to replicate the older style of D&D modules from my dad's era, AD&D
Sounds
in second edition.
sounds familiar.
Sounds very familiar. Namely, that many of them railroaded players into the quest by starting as prisoners of some kind, which blended in with me being a large Elder Scrolls fan and other similar video games at the time, decided to try my hand at DMing at the local conventions, especially ones let's just call MassonCon, as it was run out of a free Mason building. No, it did not help the Satanist allegations at Sunday school I already have from playing D&D. Good on you. I started a low level, fourth level, a 3.5 one shot game in which a group of prisoners convicted of crimes against the fantasy Roman Empire was to be thrust into a hole where an ancient evil lie. If the party could escape the dungeon before the evil got them, then they would be cleared of all charges. No one had ever escaped alive. The guard captain gave an evil, mocking good look before they started walking back into the airship and asked the players for their introductions. When one of them yelled, "We need to get back onto the ship," everyone started attacking the guards. Some tried to reach the box that contained all of their belongings, the box that was to be thrown in after them, especially the magic users' gear, while the others went after the guard's captain. Being in rags and unarmed, most of the party was downed in a matter of rounds, with the guy who started the fight asking if he could grapple the captain and was able to throw himself and the captain off the cliff's face away from the dungeon entry and to their deaths. The party asks what happens after this, and I tell them not much else since most of the content was in the dungeon. I also ask why they immediately tried to fight the guards, unarmed and without armor or magic. I got back, quote, we were just playing our characters, end quote. As I put down that they were a mix of criminals and rebels, the rebels want a chance at disrupting the empire wherever possible, and the criminals, hearing no one had gotten out of there alive, took their chance with the guards. I pointed out the ad in the con uh, itinerary for a dungeon crawler and just got back that it wasn't very good for a DM to deny characters development like that. I left to get a member of staff to complain. Turns out his group pulls this shit on new DMs at the con all the time as a form of hazing. This wasn't my first game that I tried to use this style of story railroading, but needless to say, I quickly realized that this style of intro doesn't fly in most tabletop role playing games.
No, here, I'm going to correct that. No, it does fly in most tabletop role playing games. First of all, hazing? Hazing? What the
Yeah.
fuck is that? That's not a thing you do in a tabletop RPG. Shut the fuck up with that.
Especially your game master, dude. Don't
Yeah.
haze the new game master. Fuck off.
Don't haze anybody because that's not the sort of environment. This isn't a fucking frat, okay? Like, grow the fuck up.
Yeah.
And so, secondly, this is, I would posit that maybe the players are being deliberately obstinate. I can't tell. Based on their comments after the fact, it does seem like they were probably being deliberately obstinate.
Mm-hmm.
Because we've talked about this a little bit previously, where you need to do a good job of communicating the stakes to the players, right? It is perfectly reasonable for players to be like, I am in captivity. I need to fight my way out. But there has to be some mechanism by which you communicate whether that is like a viable path, right? You communicate the gravity of a situation where it's like you have no weapons, you have no armor, these guards are well armed and there are more of them than you, and like if you communicate that gravity, then they'll think better. They're not going to just be like, well, I could just fuck them all up. It's like no,
Yeah.
no, because if you do that properly and the PCs, for lack of a better words, color outside the lines, you do need to make sure that you are consistent, because what you foreshadow should be a promise to the players of what will happen, right? You don't
Mm-hmm.
say there is danger in this cave. If you go in this cave, you will be in extreme peril, and they go in and they are not in extreme peril, then they don't trust you in the future. So if you're just following along with the logical sequence of events, like what are you doing trying to fight your way out of this, like right at this juncture, you need to be more clever than you are just like a brute force meathead. Then that needs to follow through logically. But if the PC's legitimately misunderstood, like I don't know what I can do, I'm just kind of being ushered along. I typically have the problem of over passivity. You kind of like tell the players they're in a helpless situation, and then they just kind of like go along to see what happens, and they don't ever actually try to like affect their circumstances at all. And then you're like, okay, so I'm always trying to embolden my players to be like, dude, you're fucking heroic, right? Like, sure, you don't have a weapon or whatever, but like, you're a hero or whatever.
I
You
don't know.
should be.
You're pretty good at telling us when it comes to this. Like we've had a very, 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 very few out of the 25 years that I've been playing this game with you, or more now. Who knows? But out of the times that I've played with you,
Almost.
whenever we've gotten into a prisoner like time where it was almost hopeless, you've been very adamant about telling us, been like, that you're all intelligent enough, or you're all at least well enough informed that you're kind of fucked right now. And as soon as one of the players says, I want to, or even thinks about attacking a guard, you're like, you think this might not be a great idea.
Yeah.
And you give us a really good definition, or a description of why we don't know this. But it has also been the other side too, where you do say, well, this is the majority of the time, wherever we're in that fucked situation, where you say that, yes, you're heroic. You should do this. It seems pretty easy if you want to do this. Or you say that, sure, it might not be easy, but it shouldn't be very difficult. You always give us hints of how it'll work out.
Well, because I think that I try not to be too on the nose with it and tell you like this will be easy, this will be hard. But as a general rule, like if you're doing something that you have some modicum of competency at, you have some idea about what is at the edge of your capabilities and
Hmm.
what isn't, right? Like if you're playing a game of pool and you go to shoot a shot, you know this is a shot I can hit. This is a shot I can hit sometimes. This is a shot that's right at the edge of my capabilities, and if I hit it, it'd be fucking kind of awesome. Like, or doesn't matter what it is, any given thing that you're adept at. So when you're going to do that in a role playing situation, if you're the pool player and I'm describing the layout of the table and I go like, you're like, oh, I go to hit this shot, hit this four-wheel bank, and I go, yeah, that's going to be a really hard shot for you. Like you have some sense about your own capabilities in any given circumstance. And so sometimes I might not necessarily give you like a DC of a check, but I
No.
tell you like, it'd be kind of hard to do that.
Hmm.
If things go right, and then you decide, well, how bold do I want to be in this circumstance? Because you're not going to stack things. you might try one thing that's kind of risky, but you're not going to try one thing that's risky and then have to do another thing that's incredibly risky and then another thing that's incredibly risky for like a 1% chance of success. You
Mm-hmm.
might do one and then, say like, okay, it'll be pretty hard to distract the guard. He seems pretty vigilant. He's keeping a pretty good eye on you, but it'll be pretty hard to distract him, but if you can distract him and bang his head against the gate or something, once you get out, it looks as though the hallway is kind of smooth sailing and you can probably get to the next area where you might be able to find a weapon or something and then be able to defend yourself, and things would be a little bit easier from that point on, although you do know that there are a lot of bad guys in this area, but at least you would be armed, right? That at least communicates the stakes to you in a very concrete way, and I try not to hide behind vagaries so that you have some idea, but at the same time also don't give you specific. It would be a DC 13, investigation check to like then after that, like it would be a DC 14 stealth check to sneak down the hallway. That's a little more than I do want some sense of mystery and danger, and
Yeah.
if it's all spelled out for you, then I don't think it is.
But I know that you and I have done this as well. I think every dungeon master has, in order to kind of like make sure that you know what it is. You'd be like, this is going to be a DC 25 check. And just kind of like put it forward and make sure that they know the severity of this roll. It's like, guess what, dude? DC 25.
Yeah, it's like I don't frequently do that, but I have been want to do it. But generally speaking, I just try to communicate, like, because thoughtful players will ask, like, what is the likelihood that I could do X, Y, or Z, or could I, is there any way for me to open the lock? And you go, okay, at least they're thinking in the terms of like what you want them to think about, and you go like, well, not really. Well, can I like pick it with my dagger or something? It's like, yeah, it's not really like, that's a little too hard. I mean, there's a chance that you could, but there's also a chance you'll break your dagger, and in which case you'll be weaponless. And you go, okay, so now that I know the stakes, then do you still want to do that or not? Like, it could be a cool moment where you do something super heroic, but it could also be a moment where you do something kind of foolhardy for no real big gain. And players mostly are fine taking bold risks when there are big payoffs, but they don't want to take bold risks or low percentage chance things for something that's just like, and now I got out of the cell. Like, all the work is still ahead of me, right?
Yeah.
So,
All right. Well, I think that's going to bring us to the end of this episode. How about all of you motherfuckers out there? What kind of horror stories do you have? Let us know. You want me to read them? I'll read them. You don't even have to give me a name. I won't say your name. It's fine. But give me your horror story because we want to hear that shit. I love drama. I love drama at the table. I want to talk about it. I want to share it. We're going to gush about it. I'm going to sit here and I'm going to drink wine and say, yes, this shit is fucking fun. Or just tell us anything else. But like, don't talk about horror stories. Talk about this. Yeah, give us that. Give us that topic. We'll talk about that too. I don't mind. Send it to insidethegmstudio@gmail.com. Give us any sort of topic to talk about. We're going to do it. I'm sure. But for this week, for Inside the GM Studio, I have been your host, Matt.
and I'm David.
And guess what? Good night.